Guys, welcome to the conversation. This week on ForReel, we're talking about Wicked for Good, and I'm excited to have this conversation because yesterday Derrick and I had a really awesome chat about Wicked for Good on All My Friends and Movie Fans with Darren Zakas. And I am so stoked to now be having this conversation with our other theater movie boy, Shawn Pierre. So
Hello.
it is my favorite to get my theater guys together, and yeah, it's going to be a great chat. So, Derrick, Shawn, welcome to the conversation. Um, let's see. Wicked for Good is something that we've been all kind of waiting for this last year. In building up to going to see this movie, how did you like prepare yourself? How did you like get ready to experience this conclusion? Shawn, what do you think?
I was ready from the get-go. I'm a big fan of Wicked. I have people in my life that are huge, like Wicked is everything to them. It's their favorite musical of all time. They love it with everything. I was very happy to share this experience with them. It was so much fun. Regardless of what I think of these movies, the experience and the anticipation with these people that don't usually have this anticipation for movies was just so much fun. And I think regardless of the legacy of these movies, the memories of these and going into them is something I'm never gonna forget. It was just the best. Yeah.
Yeah, Derrick, what about you? How'd you prepare yourself for Wicked for Good?
Yeah, I had a little bit of what's the word? Reserved optimism. I there were definitely some reservations I had just with the idea of knowing how short Act Two is on stage versus how long they were going to make it. The idea of original songs actually kind of freaked me out, and I was a little nervous about it. I mean, I was really just prepared for the women to do incredible because I like both of them a lot, and I was honestly curious to see how they were going to land the plane. And I think, as we've discussed ad nauseum, and I'm going to continue to do that, I think it lands with some mixed results. I think it's a little bumpy on the road, and I don't think it sticks as well as I would have liked. I preparing for it, I was like, okay, it's not going to be as good because I don't find the second act of the play to be as good. So I'm kind of bracing myself for slight disappointment. And I actually feel like it's the longer I've been away from it, the more disappointing the movie actually ends up being.
So when we talked yesterday, we got to talk about our experiences in history with Wicked. So if you're interested in hearing about me and Derrick's previous engagements with Wicked and the play and all of that stuff, you can go catch our latest AMF episode, which is currently online. So Shawn, I want you to explain to the world your interest in theater and of course your experience with Wicked.
Yeah, I love theater. I've been watching it all my life. I was very fortunate to have people in my life that would take me to see shows. Toronto, through all of its faults, has amazing theater here, amazing touring company. So we get to see Broadway level performers, sets, productions. So I've always loved theater. I see as many shows as I can. And Wicked, of course, when you're young, it's just a show that gravitates towards families. So I got to see it a handful of times. I've been able to see in the past couple of years. And I've just loved the themes of the show of friendship. Of, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I love it. The landline has made its appearance.
Every time.
That's the wizard calling, telling you to shut up and say good things about Oz. That's what just happened.
So embarrassed. But I love Wicked. I love its themes of friendship, love, acceptance, and I think that's the reason why it's resonated with so many people. It has so much to say. It's had so much to say for the 20 plus years it's been running. It has so much to say today. It's relevant. Its cultural impact remains clearly bigger than ever. It's just a very important show to a lot of people. And I think it's the perfect show that got to be adapted for general audiences because it is huge in the theater community, and these movies have only made them bigger. for the better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of. I mean, obviously, Wicked has had made an impact on culture and on theater and music, the musicals, which is, I'm sure, a lot of the reason why these movies have resonated, at least in the way that they have. What's interesting though is I have heard from everyone, literally everyone, because I haven't seen the stage play, but I've heard from everyone that the second act is the weaker act of the story. And now that I've seen the movie, I understand why. And I've said before, like the contorting that the story has to do to align with Wizard of Oz is tough. Um, I think that they try to connect as many dots as possible, but that's a lot of work to do. And it feels kind of shoehorned. And so I guess the question I want to get to, and Derrick, I'll start with you, is if you could change anything about Act Two of Wicked, and by extension, this movie for good, narratively, what would you change about the story?
Yeah, that's a big question. I, I, I'm not entirely sure what I would change. I mean, it's a, it's a story that it's hard because you then have to basically change everything that happens in the first act. And for me, I feel like the first act is probably one of the best first acts of almost any Broadway musical. I think it's just an incredible first act. I think some things that I would change is I would definitely shift to focus a little bit more to grow a lot of these characters. I think even as it bloats and pads itself in the film, Act Two really does just rush through to get to the end. That's there's really not a whole lot of. It's such a weird thing because you have two versions of the same story. One is like breakneck pacing of like, we just left you with Defying Gravity. It's never going to get better than that. So we need to like hurry up and get to For Good before everybody realizes that this act isn't, it doesn't really know where to go with the story. But then you have the cinematic version that's like, we need to pad the shit out of this and make it the longest version of a very short story that we possibly can. And so neither one of those are necessarily the answer. So I think there are some things that we can do to. I mean, I would maybe back off a lot of the tie-ins and this
Mhm.
desperation to make it all make sense. I think focusing on the women and focusing on their relationship more than anything else, and really digging into a little bit more about how the consequences of the decisions they made in Act One really affect everything that happens in Act Two, but moving all of that connective tissue to the background. To me, I just think putting that front and center. We talked about it yesterday, but or on our last recording, but the reductiveness of making Elphaba and Glinda's whole relationship just be a fight about a boy is just so misguided and just a horrible. I get why you do it for cinematic purposes, but even in Act Two, like, yes, Fiyero does kind of come between them, but not really. Like, the things that really separate them are the paths that they choose for their own lives. So yeah, I don't even know if that answers the question. Act Two is rough, man. It's a really hard thing to kind of bring that story home, especially because you're laying so much groundwork and so much world building in that first act that it almost feels impossible to wrap it up all neatly, even if you're doing it in 45 minutes or you're going to do it in 2 hours. There's almost no right answer to, like, the whole story just needs to change, I think.
Shawn, what do you think? What would your approach be to, or what would you alter about the narrative in part two or in the second act?
I think Derrick really nails it on the head. It's really weird because the musical rushes through so much because it's 40-50 minutes. This is 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it still feels a bit like things are missing because I don't know how much into spoilers we want to get into, but I just think there are some character arcs that are really pushed aside to make room for Elphaba and Glinda, and especially the Wizard. Um,
Mhm.
I really think there could have been a lot more with Nessarose. She's very important to the
Mhm.
story, but besides her one scene, she's not doing much in this movie. But she's set up for a lot more in the first movie. I would love to just see more with that. Um, that's my big thing. I think just more stuff with Nessarose and her. her arc, her transformation. If we want to get into spoilers, we absolutely can. That would be a big thing for me.
You know what? Let's go there. If you're listening and you haven't seen Wicked for Good, what are you doing with your life? Go watch Wicked for Good. So we're going to spoiler territory. Bookmark this if you haven't seen the movie. Go check it out. Everyone else, let's go. Shawn, spoilers.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting over a cold. Yeah, with Nessarose and her transformation to the Wicked Witch of the East, I think it's very important for Elphaba's character, because that's really I think that's a really important part of her story where, I think besides Defying Gravity, where there really is no going back. I know we went through that with Defying Gravity in the end of Act 1, because that's when she's like, I gotta do this, I gotta go up against the wizard. But for her to not even be able to save her sister, despite trying everything she can, it's a very good moment. But even in the musical, the scene is very rushed. And you got Bach in the middle of it, and his transformation to the Tin Man, which I think is great. But I think the whole scene in the movie, it just like happens, and then that's the last time Elphaba and Nessarose ever see each other. I don't know if there's really any good follow-up with that, because they have the number, and then very soon after, like, the house crushes on her. So I just wish there was more time with Nessarose. I think it's a very important part of the story, because also Nessarose and Bach and Glinda, there's that love triangle. I just wish there was more with her. I think she's very important in Act 1, and they establish her, and then they just kind of push her off to the side, because you really have to push forward the Fiyero, Glinda, Elphaba triangle. It's weird.
Yeah, so I'm not familiar enough with the stage play. I would love to see it, and that's what I'm still kicking myself for not having seen the play first. But if I was thinking about what I would change, I think there's a lot going on in For Good. And again, I think a lot of what is happening is trying to connect the dots between Wicked and The Wizard of Oz. And I think that I would do less of that. The first part is about them at school. And if you were to tell me that there's a spinoff of Wizard of Oz, the first story I would come up with would have nothing to do with high school. That wouldn't be where my brain went. And so what happened, I guess essentially where they go with the story is like you have this entirely kind of removed story happening at this school. But then in the second act, you then tie everything back to Wizard of Oz. I kind of think I want the second act, I would want the second act to still be kind of detached, where it's like, what are they doing, right? I know that For Good opens with Elphaba is trying to like bring justice to the animals, I guess, or like trying to free the animals. So like you kind of see that that's what she's working on, but the glimpse is so cursory, I guess, just like very surface level. It's her fighting at the beginning, which actually just kind of acts more as an action scene than it does a social justice scene, really. And then you have them escaping under the brick road later on, and that's the activism that's happening. And that seems like a really important thing to be explaining what she's doing in this time that the Wizard of Oz hasn't happened yet. If that was more of a through line, that was more of a, this is my purpose right now. This Dorothy thing is kind of in the way of that. I would probably vibe more with being a part of this world of Oz that Dorothy kind of landed herself into, rather than Oz is Oz until Dorothy comes, and then it's Wizard of Oz. So I think that's probably how I'd approach it.
You make a really good point. It makes me think of this. It might be a very, very controversial take, but does this story really need the Wizard of Oz? Because everybody loves Wicked. Nobody loves it because it's the Wizard of Oz. People love it because of what we talked about before. It's themes. People really resonate with that stuff. People love Act 1 so much more. And I find it very interesting that the Act 1 that has nothing to do with the Wizard of Oz is clearly the superior act half of the story. Nobody... If the Wizard of Oz was all people needed to get into the story, Act 2 would be so much more beloved. But it's not, because if anything, the Wizard of Oz element makes it messier. I think it's
does.
very interesting. I'm not saying you have to change Wicked and turn on Wicked all of a sudden, but if this movie, which has all the time in the world to deal with these characters, still can't crack exactly what it needs to tell the most cohesive story, maybe that's just how the story is meant to be told. And it's like I said in my review, which you should check out. It's the best version of this story we're ever gonna get, and I mean that in a good way. But unfortunately, it's not perfect. That's just the main thing for me.
Yeah, Derrick, did you have any thoughts about?
Yeah, I think yeah, I like a lot of what Shawn said that I heard. Sorry, my internet's being really whack, so
all good.
I missed most of what Shawn said, but I'm just gonna assume I agree. So I did hear the last part though, and I liked what he talked about in making some changes to really increase Nessa's role in the show in general, but especially in the film. Nessa, Bach, Glinda, that whole thing. And I think it kind of speaks to that larger part, and I'll get to the Wizard of Oz connection here in a second, but the larger part is just like everything feels cursory.
Derrick.
Yeah, I know. I saw it.
It's a little choppy. Yeah. If you want to hop out and hop back in, maybe you can reset the what am I trying to say? Connection, I guess.
Yeah, let me finish. Let me see if I can get my point out before it drops again. Yeah. So I think everything feels cursory. Everything feels like it's all on the surface, right? And I think that really calls into question how much emphasis is on the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, it went out again. You're so close to your point.
I know. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Okay, that sounds good. Nessarose was a point that I wanted to make as well because her part is really subdued in this movie, and I think the amount of development that happens with her character between Wicked and For Good is immense, and we just don't see any of it.
Yeah,
we see this
yeah,
like how did that happen? We see this animosity now between Bach, who I get, like, can I get more context about how he went about going through this relationship he never actually really wanted?
Yeah, it's a 5-year jump, and there really is no explanation of anything. A lot happens. But we're thrown right into it.
Right.
I think that's a very good point.
Because the obsession that Nessarose has over Bach, even when he's ready to move on, and which I also thought was kind of an abrupt conversation, like, hey, I'm here, we're together, you think things are good, oh, by the way, I'm ready to move on. It just like where's the progression here? I like the degree of separation between the characters and where they were in the first one and where they are in the second one, but I want a little more context about how they got there.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Derrick, welcome back. We were just talking about Nessarose. It's really funny. So when she's in Dancing Through Life, and she's like, when she says Bach in that, and everyone makes fun of that, I'm like, okay, so like she mispronounced, like she pronounced it in a weird way that time. It's whatever. But then in this movie, I think like every time she says Bach, it's just like, oh. That is not.
And one of the things I was saying too, though, is I agree. Like her character should be so integral to Elphaba, right? Like their relationship becoming fraught, and the distance between them, and the sides that they take. Like we don't really learn anything about that, and I think that's way more important than trying to cram Wizard of Oz into this story. Like I prefer the way they do it on stage, where most of it is all in shadows, and a lot of that is just rights, like the rights to Wizard of Oz, so they got to get real creative. But the shadow puppetry really just pushes all that stuff to the background, so that you don't call into question how all of those things connect, because the way that the film does it is it really kind of puts that stuff front and center, and they actually reference it, and they make Dorothy almost And while yes, she is in the end, for the most part, like she really should just be a shadow that tells you, like, yes, this is existing in the same world, but you don't have to spend all of your time trying to put together the dots. Because when they do that in the film, now you're trying to figure out, like, okay, wait, so why is he a Tin Man? When did that happen? When did he get stuck in the apple orchard? Now you start connecting dots that just frankly shouldn't be there in the first place. Like, you just, oh, the Cowardly Lion is this guy now, and it's the pet from the beginning, and like, what? Why are we doing this? Why are we making this up? We never even see, we talked about this yesterday, but like, we never even see the lion in the stage show. We see his tail, and that's it. Like, he's not even a character in this movie, or I'm sorry, in the show. For you know, so like, I understand adaptation from one medium to the next, and you have to kind of force things to make them more cinematic. But you're doing that at the expense of a narrative that's already that can barely sustain itself, and then you want to make it this big long cinematic thing, and you start doing all of these like ridiculous genre overlays, and it's just like, what are you doing? It just, I don't know. To me, it just doesn't. It makes you feel the bloat more than you should. And then it makes you start asking questions that, frankly, you should not be asking.
This is fascinating. I feel like, just kind of going back to the original question, what would I change about Act 2? I think the thesis, if I understand this correctly, the thesis of Wicked is to show that the Wicked Witch of the West wasn't really wicked after all. It's just how you see, you know, what version of the story you get. It is a tough thesis to execute, as Act 2 and as For Good has illuminated. But I think if I was to write that stage play, I might have ended it with the house falling, ended it with Dorothy showing up in Oz, and maybe the thesis isn't the Wicked Witch was good after all. Maybe it's, this is how she got bad. This is why she got bad. And you can still have the For Good song somewhere in that mix of the storm and whatever. Like, yeah, I think I would just rewrite that whole second act to end when Dorothy shows up, and then you don't have to explain everything. The Scarecrow is such a plot hole here. I can't explain the Scarecrow. That just does not make a lot of sense, knowing his history with Elphaba. And so I think about things like that, and I try not to hold it against the movie, right? Like, I enjoyed the movie, I enjoyed the music, and I don't hold those narrative deficiencies against the movie. I'm gonna have those same problems whenever I see the play. But yeah, when you have these like loose ends, that's like, well, that doesn't make sense with the story I know about Wizard of Oz. That's probably how I would have written the story, is to end it at the house falling, and this is why this is why Elphaba is bad, not necessarily trying to change how we see her, because there's so much back and forth. There's a lot of back and forth. We're friends, now we're not friends, now we're friends. I love you, but I love them, and it's a lot. It is messy. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what I find very interesting is that the first movie comes out and everybody loves the first movie, and it makes everybody so excited for the second movie. And I'm sure there were people that are like, Act 2 isn't as good as Act 1. Let's be like cautious. But I think the general consensus going in was excitement. I know so many people that are fans of this musical, and they were never scared of this movie being as choppy as it is, even though they know the show so well. I never heard any people going, oh, like, is it going to be better than Act 2 on stage? Is it going to hold up well? People are just excited. And now it comes out, and all the fans of the musical are like, how are you guys not surprised? Like, this second act has always been messy. We should have been expecting this. Like, the opinion going into Act 2, I feel like the moment it got released and people started seeing it, we're like, it's a bit messy. I feel like the general opinion completely flipped on its head, where it's like, no, we should have known this going in. We should have known how messy it was going to be. Where I personally am online a lot and talk about with a lot of people in my personal life, and I personally just never saw that reservedness. It's very weird. It's interesting because the idea of Act 2 being what it is at its core, which is a bit messy, never was on people's minds. I find that very interesting. I don't know.
That is an interesting observation.
And that messiness is exasperated. It's exasperated by how much bloat and desire to add genre filmmaking on top of it. I think a lot of the franchise elements rear their ugly head in there. I think their focus on things that just aren't really necessary. Like I said, the reductiveness of basically turning Glinda and Elphaba's friendship into nothing more than a fight about a boy is just like, what? Why? Everything that we just did in the first act and in the first movie is gone now. Like, their whole friendship is about Fiyero. Like, I get it, Jonathan Bailey's hot, but like, that's not a movie, guys. Like, that's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not. And I think in an effort to be a little bit more film oriented as far as like crowd pleasing things, I think you lose a lot of that darkness and a lot of the just better thematic elements that I think would be more pertinent to focus on. The emphasis on the animals, like I hated the Underground Railroad. I was just like, what are we doing here?
Too literal, guys.
What is this?
Too literal.
And it's also like that. It's way too much. But also, like, this is a 5-year gap, right, from one movie to the next in time in Oz, and everything is different. Like, everything is exactly the same when we left after the end of Defying Gravity. Everybody is pretty much in the exact same place. Nothing has really changed from one to the next. The only thing that's different is now actually building the Yellow Brick Road. That's it. Like, Elphaba's the same, Glinda's the same, Miss Morrible's the same, Oz is the same, the Wizard is the same. Like, they're all in the exact same place they were when we left them. And it's like, okay, so why are we even bothering with this? Why are we? We're not moving the story along. What's the point of having a 5-year gap if everybody is just hanging out for 5 years? What?
I was talking about it with a group of my theater friends last night, and I have a friend who's already seen it twice and seeing it for a third time today, and she did not get that it was a 5-year gap. And she loves the musical. She's seen the movie multiple times already. And me and another friend had to tell her it's been 5 years. And she did not believe us until we looked it up. Like, that's how unclear it is. And Derrick is absolutely right, where nothing changes in years 1 to 5 in between these movies for anyone to realize, unless they spell it out for you, that it's been 5 years and there should be a much bigger difference. Like, Nessarose doesn't even change because the dad dies, so she gets appointed to Munchland. It could have been a month after Act 1. And I'm sorry, but not much has changed. I know that in the beginning of the movie, Madame Morrible says 10 clock ticks. Nobody knows what that means. If that means if a clock tick is every 2 years, or no, not 2 years, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Every
6 months, like 10.
I don't know.
6
I'm
months,
not gonna do the math right now, but like, you know what I mean? Where don't even get me started on the use of the word clock tick, but like, but see, like, they're just not being clear with their time jump, and again, it just makes things a bit messy because these characters haven't done much since the first one. They're where they're supposed to be. Glinda's under Madame Morrible's wing. I mean, yeah, Fiyero were a bit unclear, but there's no explanation between him leaving Shiz and him becoming the general of the army that hunts her. Like, where's this? I just want a bit more.
And I think, I think that's where I'm coming from when I say something like, they need something to do. Like, what are their jobs, right? Like, what have they been doing in these last 5 years that they are now like championing? You know, how has like, what is Glinda doing on a day-to-day basis, you know, to sustain her life? Like, they went to school and now they're adults now. Can we get a little bit more context over like what their daily lives are like, in order to understand that 5 years has passed? You know, maybe Thanos should have snapped his finger and then we'd all know it was 5 years.
Yeah.
Isn't that how long the Avengers gap was? Yeah, I guess that's a good point, because the Avengers gap was 5 years, right? Between Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, and even Endgame opens with Hawkeye, who we don't know what he was doing in Infinity War. It shows him and shows why he's important to the story, and shows him where he jumps in. Like, Wicked for Good is doing what Endgame. If Endgame had Jeremy Renner's first scene in the movie be him in Japan as Ronin, and you're like, where the hell is this coming from? Like, how
Right.
did he
Oh,
become Ronin?
totally.
But
Yep.
that one scene opening in Endgame where his family gets snapped away, and you go, that's his motivation. It makes sense. That's all it needed. Like my friend Ethan, who is a good friend of ForReel, made a really good point yesterday, where if there was just something to just bridge a bit of the gap between Act 1 and Act 2, instead of going right into the action of Act 2, I think it could have helped. They were just assuming we all knew. I don't think that was enough.
Yeah, that assumption is you know, and it's kind of tough when you're developing a project this big, trying to gauge what people are going to know and what you have to kind of spell out a little bit more. I think this is one that they should have spelled out a little bit more. I didn't know it was 5 years. I knew that there was a gap. I didn't know what kind of gap it was. It could have been 10 clock ticks. It could have been 1 clock tick. It could have been half a clock tick. I don't know.
I'm gonna get PTSD. God, that word, the trigger now.
So there's, you know, I know that there's a lot of excitement about Wicked for Good going into it, and you know, this is a movie, it's a blockbuster that kind of lends itself to awards and, you know, kind of that prestige. But let's talk about that. What awards do we expect Wicked for Good to be going up for?
Ooh, that's a great question. And as someone who really follows the award season and the Oscars, I really think this shakes things up quite a bit. Now, we're getting 10 movies get nominated regardless. And the reviews are good. Not great, but they're good. Wicked was definitely a shoo-in for the last one. With this one, we still have to see what's yet to come out because we have the Christmas season, which is going to be big. But Wicked can still sneak itself in. It will be 8, 9, or 10, but it could still get in. I think Ariana Grande is still a shoo-in. I think she's amazing.
Oh my gosh, so good.
Because she is amazing in this movie. I think arguably better than the first one. I think you can make that argument regardless of your opinion on it. But she doesn't right now. There's no Zoe Saldana frontrunner. Now, until we get to the Golden Globes and the Critics' Choice, we have yet to see who her competition may be. But I don't really see right now any strong supporting performance from a woman that can beat her yet. So I think right now, not only is Ariana Grande in the 5, I think she has it to win. We'll see. I think Cynthia Erivo can still get nominated. She's amazing. I think No Good Deed is an incredible number. I think you can make the arguments the best number out of both movies. I think it's that good. No Good Deed is amazing.
Yeah.
Song is interesting. I want to talk about the song because even the biggest fans of Wicked that I know do not like Girl in the Bubble at all. They find it unnecessary. They find it completely clashes with the pacing because, you know, you get into the March of the Witch Hunters, which is a number I love, and it's dark and it's powerful. And then you cut to Glinda, and she's like, I have problems too, guys. And, you know, let's pause. Let's just stop everything in its tracks right now. All the momentum we had, let's stop it for 3 minutes to talk about me and my life.
Okay.
And it does not work. The song doesn't work. The song isn't that good. I'm sorry.
Right.
I respect Steven Schwartz. It does not fit in Wicked. No Place Like Home is interesting. I think it's a better song. I think it's being better. I think it's being more well received. I think if one of them were to get nominated, because I don't think both will, it will be No Place Like Home. I have to see what Netflix does with K-pop Demon Hunters because I'm sure Golden is going to win.
Yeah,
but I think it will get No Place Like Home. I think we'll get tech nominations. I just don't think it's going to win them, and I just don't think it's going to get the haul that did in the first movie. It's not going to. If the first one didn't get director, it's not going to get director. Probably not score. I don't know if the first one got screenplay. I don't know if it did.
I don't think so.
It won't be after this one then.
Yeah, I agree with you though. I think this awards chances are slipping by.
Yeah.
With just with just about every new iteration that or every new review that comes out, because
It'll get worse with time. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just don't see this. I just don't see this getting the love that the first one did. And I talked about this before, but I'm always down to kind of shit on what this movie looks atrocious. Like this movie looks so unbelievably bad. Like it is shocking how awful this movie looks. And I had very similar issues with Wicked, because I think the lighting and the cinematography for Wicked are also awful.
Yeah.
But it is infinitely more egregious here because you don't have the fun, poppy, thrilling music to go along with to kind of distract you from how bad it looks. So because you don't have that, you're just immediately like, wow, this looks like shit. Because it does. It really, really, really does. Everything is muted in these just grotesque whites and grays. And I said this before, but I'll say it again. Like, Glinda is pink personified. And I could not tell you the difference in shades of pink that she has, because every time she's supposed to have dark pink and bright pink and middle, like she's supposed to have all these different variations, and they all look the same because everything is just washed. It's just washed, and the digital effects are horrendous here. They're so bad, and it's just, I don't know what this trend is of like hiding your gorgeous production design with really shitty digital sheen. I don't understand why we're doing this.
There's a poster that came out, and like, where was
that's
it?
right.
Like,
yes,
this is beautiful. Yeah. It was in the trailer. It's a deleted scene, I guess, now. Like, where was this? It's a beautiful dress. It's look at the pink. Like, where was this? They had it. What happened? They had it. Like, they showed it to us. Why would you show me something if I can't have it? Like,
yeah, even when you look at stills that are uploaded, like there's a color palette in those stills that does not exist in the movie. None of that is there. Like, why? Oz is a vibrant color palette. I don't understand why you would purposefully mute all of that. And Darren had brought up on our conversation that like the argument was, oh well, we wanted to really show the contrast of green and pink, and that's why we wanted to do all the backlighting. And it's like, but why don't you just dial up the colors of pink and green? Why are we whitewashing them as a way to make them pop? Like, there is no color that pops here, and it is ugly. It's genuinely ugly. And I wasn't bothered by it. I was bothered by it in the first one, but it didn't like really affect my rating. But this one is like, you guys have no excuse. You just don't. Like, you have all the money in the world to make the most beautiful movie, to just make it look gorgeous, and you purposefully choose to make it look worse. And I just don't get it.
Yeah, that's really interesting observations there, because I think it could be more vibrant, even though I think maybe the calculations is that this is a darker movie, so you can't pop too much. But like you said, we got the poster. Like, look at that poster. It was lovely. And that is what Glinda should be, even though this is a darker movie, that's still her identity, right?
Yeah,
so like she should still be embracing
purple.
that.
Yeah.
It's even like the yellow brick road looks washed. Like,
it does.
Yeah. Even the yellow brick road isn't even shining and bright. Like, there are more vibrant colors in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 than there are here.
Crazy. It's crazy that's true.
Like, and
90 years ago.
Right, 90 years ago. And even The Wizard of Oz gets dark. Like, there are some dark places.
Yeah.
I just, the lighting is an issue. And when we talk about technical categories, I think it'll probably get nominated in some, but this one is not doing the 10, the 10 nominations with 2 wins like this. I am actually going to even take it a step further and say, I think Wicked for Good blinks across the board.
Wow.
I actually don't think it gets in.
I actually don't think it gets into any of the above the line categories.
I
I
think
actually
it-
don't even think it's going to get Best Picture or Best Supporting Actress for Ariana Grande.
Really?
Oh,
Wow. That's a
no.
bold statement.
So
We'll
I
see
just
if that happens.
Yeah, I just looked up the other best supporting actress like front runners. One Battle After Another has a couple candidates. Sentimental Value has a couple candidates, and Haley Steinfeld is also on the list. I see Gwyneth Paltrow from Marty Supreme.
No.
Right.
No.
What about the other Marty Supreme girl?
Odessa Odessa has a better shot.
You'll love this one. Emily Blunt from The Smashing Machine is kind of somewhere on this list.
I need her to not get in, so I have a dinner bet riding on the fact that she won't get in at all.
If Chase
and I
was
need
in
to win.
supporting, it'd be a different story. But
Right.
she's not, so.
Yeah, so I'm pretty confident about Ariana Grande. If there is one award that it gets nominated for, I'm pretty sure it's Ariana Grande, and I think that she could win too. If they push a hard enough marketing campaign for her, I could see that. I know that, and I actually don't care for No Place Like Home as a song. I think that if you're going to have Cynthia Erivo sing an original song, you needed to put a little bit more effort into it besides just ripping off the line from Wizard of Oz. I mentioned in All My Friends and Movie Fans that Wild Rose and Jessie Buckley did it way better. So I've actually literally had that song on repeat since I mentioned it yesterday. No, it was kind of lazy, especially for this magnitude of a production. And I saw on Reels, I can't remember who said it, but somebody mentioned that if you were going to put really good, impactful songs to complement this production, instead of doing 2 solo songs, you should have had ensemble pieces. Something that incorporated more talent and more energy behind it, instead of these 2 like solo ballads. And I could see the calculation for these 2 solo ballads. You have these 2 powerful singers. You have these 2 really characters that everybody's gravitated to. Give them their own songs. I get the calculation, but then you guys went about it in the most lazy way possible. And like Shawn said, I think they both feel shoehorned. They don't feel natural. And when you have this much time to make this magnitude of a production, you have the time and the talent and the skill to do something a little bit more involved and impactful than what we got with these 2 songs. And the more I think about it, the more annoyed I get, because I've said before, like the key to making this better, the key to making this really good, or at least on par with the first Wicked, was the music. And I think the original songs, the natural songs with the story, those are great, really great arrangements of those songs here. But yeah, when No Place Like, I've never seen the stage play, so I don't know the soundtrack, but when No Place Like Home started, I was like, oh, this is the new song. Like,
it's out of place. It doesn't belong there. It really doesn't.
It doesn't feel organic at all. That's a great point. That's a great point, Thomas. It does feel shoehorned. It feels like you said, even if you haven't seen the show, you just know that, like, oh yeah, this isn't in there. Like you can feel how forceful it is when it's shoved into this movie.
That's the last thing you want to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it sucks. It really does suck. There's so many amazing songs in Wicked, mostly in Act 1, but I feel like Glinda and Elphaba already have all these amazing solos, Wizard and I'm not that girl. I think having them share that song where Elphaba does the one version in Act 1 and Glinda does in Act 2, I think that's so powerful, and I think it's I love that they do that. And then Elphaba has No Good Deed, which is an incredible, powerful song. I don't know why she needs another song. I don't want to assume what happened behind the scenes, but I just feel like maybe egos were not checked at the door. I don't know. I don't know them. They kind of scare me, the 2 of them, honestly, so I don't want to say anything that's going to get me in trouble, but I don't know. I don't know if they were like, we need to have our own songs. Like, maybe Stephen Schwartz was like, no, I have this vision, but if that's the best Stephen Schwartz, Oscar-winning composer Stephen Schwartz can do, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like neither one of those songs feel written for the talents that the women who are
Yeah.
performing them, and that's the whole driving force behind it. It's not even just to give them more stuff. Like I would almost want more ego. If you're gonna do that, then prove it to me that it's worth putting it in
Give
there.
me
Like,
another no good deed.
yeah, right. Give me
Mhm.
something that and you can keep it. It doesn't. I'm fine if you want to do ballads like that. That's all well and fine. But like, there needs to be electricity in these songs. Like, you
Mhm.
need to. So I think of like "Girl in the Bubble," which I think is the better of the two, and that's not a compliment. They're both bad. But, at least the "Girl in the Bubble" has a little bit more emotionality behind it, and it's like we talked about this on All My Friends Are Movie Fans, but like Ariana Grande has already proven that she has a vast range and the capability to step into an operatic type role with a whole different level that we had no idea she had, and we've been following her singing career for over a decade now. Like,
Mhm.
she has all the talent in the world. So why would you write a song where she whispers? Like, like what? Why are we doing this? Give her a Wizard and I moment. Give her a Defying Gravity moment. Give her something to do. Let her show that off. And instead, you're like, yeah, just make her really sad and sit on the stairs and kind of just hum a jaunty tune to herself. Like, why? Why? Like, I just don't. If you're gonna do it, it needs to be better than everything else that's already there. I understand you're never gonna get to Defying Gravity. That's
Mhm.
reserved for itself, right? But like, you've got many other contenders that are underneath that are equal that are right on the cusp of being great. And
Mhm.
you need to, the songs need to be there. If you're not
Mhm.
going to do Defying Gravity, then it needs to be The Wizard and I, right? Like, if you're not going to do Defying Gravity, then it needs to be For Good, or it needs
Mhm.
to be No Good Deed, or it needs to be Dancing
Even
with the Stars.
popular, like it's
Even
there.
popular, right? Exactly. Like, it needs to be something that is synonymous with the best. And if you can't do that, then they need to not be there in the first place. They just need to
Mhm.
not exist.
Yes.
Totally. I can absolutely see that these songs are obviously plays for Oscars. Like that they didn't I don't think they put these songs in there because the movie needed it or help push the story along. This is, hey, we're looking to get nominated for as many Oscars as possible. Let's add these songs. And Derrick, I think you made a really interesting point yesterday when it comes to like what these songs needed. And the point that you made that I have not stopped thinking about is that they needed hooks. They needed something that was memorable, that's earworm. Let me tell you, so I've never listened to For Good before Wicked for Good. I've never heard that song before. And I cannot stop singing that song.
It's a beautiful song.
It's beautiful. It's
One of the most beautiful
gorgeous.
songs in theater.
But it's because like there's this like love, like on top of the message, how wonderful the message is, and how it brings the story to kind of its conclusion. It's catchy.
Yeah.
It's one of those songs that can really just stick in my head, and I haven't stopped humming it ever since I heard it. And that's what you needed.
There's such an infectious melodic quality to the best songs
Mhm.
Yeah.
of the show, even including in Act 2 when we talk. I mean, we're talking about like For Good and No Good Deed. Even Thank Goodness, even I Couldn't Be Happier. These are like
Mhm.
just infectious earworms that just repeat in your mind over and over and over again. And even though I don't really care for the way that they're framed cinematically, I hum them. I hum For
Yeah.
Good all the time. And not even the whole song, just their actual hook
Right.
that they sing together. Like, that is just in my mind, and it's been there for almost 20 years now. I've had it in my head, and the new songs don't even hold a candle. I couldn't possibly hum you.
No,
Couldn't
yeah.
even tell you what it's. I have no idea. And we talked about this. This is the other thing I said too. Like, I have a pretty good ear for melody, and I have a pretty good memorization melody. So I did choir my entire life, and I can't read music for shit. Even though like I've done music and musical theater and everything that you're supposed to do. Cannot read music, but I am like the drumline of musical theater, where if you give me a melody, I can commit that melody to memory almost instantly, and I can just do that. So if I just listen to it, that I got my part. I don't play it on the piano. Don't ask me to read it. Like, just I need you to sing me the harmony that I need to memorize, and I got it. We're good. Cannot do that with either one of the new songs. And
Nope.
it's only been a week. Couldn't do it. Couldn't tell you. Couldn't
Yeah,
tell you what they
and-
sound like. I have no idea.
And I want to make a quick point to anybody that is like, oh, well, people are always against these songs that get added to musical movies because they're not from the original, and it's just an uphill battle. That's not true, because songs like Maybe This Time from Cabaret and You're the One That I Want from Grease were made for the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And now not only are they beloved, they are like the definitive songs in those musicals.
Maybe This Time is phenomenal.
Exactly.
That is a phenomenal song.
You have the original composer who understands the source material more than anybody, and he should make better songs than this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
like you're lucky enough to still have him around. Like
Right.
This movie was in development hell since the moment it got to Broadway, 20 plus years. We didn't know if we were ever going to get it, if the people that made it were going to be long gone, but they were lucky enough to get the original producers, composer, and book writer for this movie.
God, and cast. Like you got
right,
the two women that literally cemented Glinda and Elphaba. You got them to be in the movie. That doesn't happen often, guys. And even when it does, it doesn't work most of the time.
Yeah.
Here's looking at you, dear Evan Hansen. So yeah, like there's just no excuse. You're absolutely right. Like, why you should not be dropping the ball. It has nothing to do with, oh, we don't like new stuff, don't change my show. Like, that's, man, if the songs are good enough, I don't give a shit. Like,
yeah.
And they're not. Neither one are good enough at all. And I know you wrote it to try to qualify for the Oscars, but you clearly didn't know K-pop Demon Hunters was coming out. And sorry, bro, but Golden is infectious.
Yes, it is. I mean, I it's not like, I remember listening to Golden and like watching K-pop Demon Hunters. Like, this music is so like it's catchy. It's not that it's the best written music ever, but it is catchy. And I know how to sing Golden, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that song is just, it has the hook, it has the melody. It's like, it is infectious. Like, how did you miss that quality in the song? But you know what I would have even taken? I would have even taken wordplay, because when I listen to For Good in the theater and I'm listening to the lyrics, and I'm just like, that is incredible wordplay. I can't say, who can say if I've been changed for the better, but I've been changed for good. Like, incredible use of the English language, I think. Like,
Steven Schwartz is a brilliant composer. He has multiple Oscars, many Tony nominations. He's one of the best working composers ever. I really think so. He's a genius. He's brilliant. And it hurts. It really hurts to see that he had 20 years to write new songs for Elphaba and Glinda. And that's the best he has. I'm sorry, it's not good enough. I'm sorry. I know he has such a high standard. I say it with love because we know what he's capable of. It's not because we wanted him to fail. We know what he can do.
Yeah. Get it, Nega Shawn. Get it.
He showed up.
No, I mean, look, you're absolutely right. I think of somebody like I think of somebody like Lin-Manuel Miranda, who he was tasked with coming into something like Disney, and I think what he does with Little Mermaid and some of the stuff that I think it's awful. Like, I think that's his weakest entry. But going from something like Hamilton and then applying that skill that he has as a composer, because he's a very good lyricist and he's a very good composer. One thing he does really well in Moana is he does it in Little Mermaid, and I hate it, but in Moana, he doesn't actually try to impose his hip-hop infused style. He clearly understands Disney music and creates it. Like, How Far I'll Go is so Disney coded, it's not even funny. Right. And so it's like, and really this is just exacerbating. It's just beating your point into the ground, Shawn. It's like, Steven, you can do this. Like, you should be able to understand your material better than anyone, just like you said. And the fact that you don't tells me that you haven't spent the last 20 years thinking about one of your greatest contributions to, not to cinema, but at least to Broadway. Like, this show is beloved, and it's beloved because of the music that you created. So yeah, man, like, you created the standard. We didn't do this. Like, I didn't write Defying Gravity. Like, you did. So like, it's on you to get to that level, not me. And yeah, I just don't think they're there. I just don't think they're good.
Well, we're going to bring this to a close, but on the awards conversation, I suppose the question that's on my mind is whether Cynthia Erivo is going to get her EGOT status. this round.
She's not winning Best Actress because if she didn't win for the first one, she's not winning for this one. And as of right now, I think Jessie Buckley has it in the bag.
Yeah.
And then for Best Original Song, because she co-wrote it, and if it gets nominated, she'll be in that. It's not going to win if Golden is up there. And I just even if it's not Golden, for whatever reason, Golden, let's say hypothetically, for whatever reason, if Golden does not get nominated, I don't know. But if it doesn't, I don't even know if it's strong enough. I don't know. If the song was still the way that it was, but the movie was a lot more beloved, like the first one, it could still happen. But I don't know. I think it has too much going against it. And then I want to make another quick point because Best Casting starts this year. And a lot of people were saying that they'll give it to Wicked because they couldn't give it to Wicked for the first one. But now I'm seeing so many people turn against Michelle Yeoh and Jeff Goldblum.
She's awful in this movie. Oh my God.
Michelle Yeoh, I love you. I will never take anything away from you. But my God, I don't know what she has on John M. Chu. But look, Thomas, I'm not going to do the exact line, but Wicked fans know there's a line in the opening number, Couldn't Be Happier, or Thank Goodness, that's sung by the ensemble. And they take it away from the ensemble and give it solely to Michelle Yeoh. And she can't hit the notes. I don't know what happened.
So bad. It's so bad.
And Jeff Goldblum is just... She can only do Jeff Goldblum so much.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work very well. So getting back to my original point, people are really shitting on those two right now. That I don't know if Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are going to be enough for them to give it Best Casting, because it might go to one battle. Because you got to mix some newcomers
I agree, and I think in this particular role, I do agree that if this movie was more beloved and if it had the same kind of infectiousness that Wicked had, then yes, I do think it could probably sneak by, and even with some mismatches like Jeff Goldblum and Michelle Yeoh, who's just I agree with you, Shawn. I love her so much. She is one of the greatest actresses of our time. She is awful in this movie, and I don't even think that's her fault. Like, she's just wrong for the part. Like, she just is. Like, it's just not a good part for her, and that is very clear. And same thing with Jeff Goldblum. Like, I love him. I love Jeff Goldbluming all over everybody. Like, I'm all down.
So good on paper.
It is so good on paper, but he's just incapable of doing anything other than Jeff Goldblum, and therefore there's no change or character development in any way, shape, or form with the Wizard, good or bad. Like, he's just Jeff Goldblum. That's it. That's all that happens. So I also think too that category has such a crowded year this year with big giant all-star casts like One Battle After Another, like Wake Up Dead Man. I think the Sinners, like, dude, come on. Like, there are movies out there that have like 0 weak links. Like, there's no Michelle Yeoh in some of these castings, and I think that's really going to hurt it. I don't know, man. I get this vibe that and I'm not saying it's going to blank where it's like not going to get nominated for anything, but I don't know. Like, this year, it's just, there's no way it lands some of these ones that we thought for sure it was going to win, like Best Original Song, Production Design, because that production design list, bro, that there are some bangers with production design this year, and I just don't think it's going to hold a candle to a lot of those. So it might get nominated, but like John M. Chu's not getting nominated for director.
Absolutely not.
Like, not at all. So I think Wicked for Good has a very bad uphill battle. I see the argument for Ariana Grande. That might be the one, but I don't know, man. I just think critically and in the industry in general, I don't think this has we got to do a crowd pleaser and bring them here. Like, I don't even think you need to have them at the Oscars, because like, you're not going to have them do it because the Oscars are lame and they won't do the thing you need to do, which is have them show up and sing for good. So maybe they'll nominate them so that they get there, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're going to get casting. I don't think Erivo's going to get her EGOT. Not for this. She should have gotten it last time, but even then, like, I don't know. These categories are just too stacked, man. They're just too stacked for a movie that's just way too mid.
What a shame. What a shame.
No.
I mean, I'm gonna echo all of your opinions too. I would love for Cynthia Erivo to get you got here. And they're just gonna have to spend a lot of money pushing something. Like, find one category. If it's gonna be No Place Like Home, if it's gonna be casting, they've just got to kind of put all their eggs in that basket, because I'd like you guys are saying, I don't think it's winning a whole lot this year. As we talk more about how stacked the contenders are this year, Wicked for Good is just, it's, go make your money at the box office, be the epic conclusion that you are, or at least that you tried to be. There's a lot to appreciate about the movie from a mainstream perspective, but from a critical perspective, up against so many like really, really great movies this year, it's kind of unfortunate. And I don't know. Maybe if it does go home empty-handed, they'll commission a third Wicked.
Please, dear God, I am begging you. I am fucking begging you to not do this. Please don't.
For the Oscars, guys.
No,
gotta do it for the Oscars.
No, I don't need anything more. I just no, please, dear God. That sounds horrible. I don't think they want to, though. I think also too, like, I think this campaign is going to be a lot less enthusiastic. I think the women are tired, and this is not a knock on them, but I just think like the promotional demands and the press demands for something like this, I think they're very much starting to take their toll. Because if you really think about it, they've only had about a year off from from their campaigns from one to the next, and like it's something I always come just from being in the industry and just kind of like seeing this stuff. Like, people don't give enough credit to how exhausting press promotion is. Like, there's a reason that by the time you get to the last person, like, most of your actors and performers and directors are like drunk and agitated, and you know what I mean? Like, you just
right.
I mean, just think about it. Like, you have to do this for weeks on end. For 3 months, you have to sit in a hotel room and have 100 people come up and ask you the same 3 fucking questions all day, every day for 3 months straight. Like, I get it. That's part of your job and that's part of your contract, but that shit sucks. Like, and then you have to be kind and you have to be enthusiastic about it. And yeah, by the time you get to the 95th person asking you what was it like to work with Cynthia Erivo, like, yeah, bro, like, I don't want to answer your fucking question anymore. Like, can you just give me another shot of vodka? Let me get the hell out of here. Like, I'd be annoyed too. So I think there is definitely a toll that's being taken on them, because they not only do they have to do that, but like, they're constantly asked to perform, and they constantly have to show up and sing these songs and try to recreate this magic all throughout the campaign. So I think this campaign is going to be met with a lot less of a warmer embrace as it did in the first one. And I think they're going to have a lot less energy. I don't think that has anything to do with their desire. I think obviously they want to promote the film and they want it to do well.
Yeah.
But I just think, like, as a human mind and like their own mental health, like, I think they're starting to crack a little bit, and I think that's going to show up on the campaign trail big time.
Potentially, it'll be interesting to see what they decide to focus on, and which, I think it'll become pretty clear what their priority is going to be, whether that be trying to beat Golden with No Place Like Home, so that Cynthia get, or maybe they try to out campaign Jessie Buckley. Best of luck to you on that. But
that is not happening.
If Cynthia Erivo if she can out campaign Mikey Madison, like,
that's true.
Not out campaigning
so valid.
You're not beating Jessie, dude. It's just not happening. This is not happening. I would even slot her in like 8th out of the performances that I've seen. Yeah.
We shall see, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it. But for now, we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Derrick, anything you want to plug before we take off?
No, I think I've said all I need to. I don't want anybody to think I hated this movie. There's a lot I didn't like, and it was met with a lot of mixed results. I think there's some highlights. I know Shawn had talked about it on his review. No Good Deed is phenomenal, and I'll say it again so that the stands don't come after me. Like, Erivo and Grande are innocent. They are they are spared from anything I don't like about this movie.
Yes.
It is not on them, because they are so incredibly talented, and I could watch those two women do whatever it is they ever want to do together forever. Like, I don't want to make more Wicked movies, but they share such a authentic chemistry between the two of them, and their talent is just, it's enough to carry this movie all the way to the end. And anything that I can walk away from it saying, hey, that was really great, all of that comes from them. So I ended up landing kind of mixed negative on it, and I would probably put it somewhere between like 3.5 stars. I think that's probably where I land. And honestly, the more I think about it, the lower it gets. So I think it's probably closer to like the low end of a 3. So yeah, I didn't want to do that. I don't want anybody to think that like I was going in for it to do that. I started at a 10, and it just kind of the thing, I just can't ignore a lot of the things that really bothered me. So,
Shawn, any last thoughts?
Really gonna echo what Derrick said. This was my most anticipated movie of the year by far. I've loved Wicked for well over 15 years at this point. I wanted to love this, and there's parts of it that I love, specifically Erivo and Grande, but there's just a lot of narrative issues that you just can't ignore. And if you do ignore them and you still love the movie and it's a 10 out of 10, all the power to you. I respect people that love this movie because there's so much to enjoy, and there are parts of this movie that I love and enjoy, but I just have to be realistic. I have to be honest. And if I were to say I loved this movie, if I were to say it's better than part 1, that I would watch over part 1, I'd be lying. And it sucks to say that. I wanted to go out of that movie being like, that was amazing. I can't wait to do a double feature back to back. But I would watch part 1 any day over this one.
Yeah, same.
Oh, man. Well, that it has been spoken. That's what it is, guys. Thank you for bringing your theater interests and backgrounds to this conversation and educating me on Wicked. But yeah, we'll come back next week with another movie conversation, and until then, we'll see you all then. All right. There we go. We made it.